Everyone, it's Eleanor here once again, and it's another exciting series of Connect with Eleanor. Month of August, we're going to be talking about the stronghold of the mind. If you guys have noticed, for a while I've not been online, and I've had time to think about how to help people, how to help my friends, people around me, and I made a lot of research when it comes to this issue of the mind. So I hope you'll be patient with me as I lay the foundation in episode 1, which is talking about building your mental stronghold. I know many of you might want to say, why are you digressing? There's a reason why. For everything you learn, it is very essential that you have a proper foundation. We're going to be exploring how to build your mental strength, how to overcome challenges, and cultivate resilience. And no matter how much you go down, you always have the strength to go back up again. So the segment 1, we're going to be talking about the basic knowledge of the mind. Our mind is like a garden. Whatever you build, whatever you cultivate in your mind is what grows there. Obviously, there are going to be weeds that are unwanted, that is going to be sown by so many experiences, so many things you go through. But you have to be intentional in uprooting all those weeds. Like I said before, our mind is like a garden. Thoughts are like seeds. Some thoughts can nourish us, while some can destroy us. Understanding this will help us know more about the mind. There was a particular day that I went to work, and obviously while I was going, there were some dents on my clothes due to the fact that the road was not really that how do I put it, neat. So when I got to work, I noticed that there was a little stain in my trousers, and this thought just came to my mind that, okay, what if people start looking at you like you're a dirty person? What if people start, there's a way those thoughts just keep coming. There's a way those thoughts kept coming, and it started affecting me because I started feeling insecure. I started feeling like, okay, they are watching me. That is how powerful thoughts can be. So I had to reconstruct my mind, like, okay, if anybody says that there's a stain in my trousers, obviously, okay, it was something that happened when I was coming to work. I can just give that explanation and just let it go. We'll probably find a way to clean the dirt, find solution. So there is a way those thoughts come flooding into our mind that it doesn't even give us an opportunity to think of, okay, what can I do to solve this problem? This thought that is coming to me, how can I overcome it? So I just gave us an example of how our mind is like a garden. So imagine just that single thought that people start looking at you, and or imagine how it started making me feel insecure. I started feeling like, okay, this person is watching me, whereas they were not actually looking at me. So that is how thoughts are very powerful. 3 sub points in this episode, which is our thoughts, our emotions, and our behavior. So let's start with thoughts. Thoughts are mental processes that happen constantly. It's something that comes to you every second and every minute. You can't actually stop it. Why emotions are feeling of happiness, sadness, anger, and they are connected to thoughts, because thoughts can trigger emotions. Just like I had this thought that people will be looking at me because of my stained trousers, and I started feeling insecure. That is how thoughts can actually trigger your emotions and make you feel sad, make you feel withdrawn. So you have to be intentional when it comes to the thoughts that come into your mind. You can't control it, but you can actually attack those thoughts with positive ones, and look for solutions to whatever thought you're having. Behavior are actions that we take based on thoughts and emotions. So it now comes to the fact that the kind of behavior. Let's imagine when that issue happened and I felt like, okay, people were looking at me. There's a way I'll just feel withdrawn and not talk to anybody because I don't want them to notice that, okay, there's a dent on my trousers. I'll start feeling withdrawn. I'll start feeling insecure. And that is how it just affects your emotions like that. It will affect your behavior. You might be someone that is very lively before. You suddenly get withdrawn just because of that thought. You start having low self-esteem. That is how they come. You might think that it's going to be in the big things, but the way this thing works, most of the things that affect our behavior might be minute things that you will not pay attention to, which is why you need to be intentional about the thoughts that you accommodate. You cannot stop thoughts from coming into your mind, but you can actually decide to counter it with positive ones. So just imagine that when that issue happened, I was able to say, okay, what can I do to find solution to this stained trousers? Probably go and find a way to wash the stain off, and feel okay, being the best solution as at that time. But like I said, thoughts are very powerful. There's a way it won't even make you think of the solution when you're having those thoughts. So you have to be intentional when it comes to the thoughts that you accommodate, you feed in your mind. So now, understanding the connection between your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior is something that will really help you understand your mind better. I hope you're going along with me, because I want to lay a foundation before we get right into the topic in depth. So now to the segment 2, which is the mental stronghold. Mental stronghold is a fortress in your mind. Now the question is this: what kind of stronghold will you have in your mind? Positive ones. Positive thoughts, healthy habits, self-care, those are the positive strongholds that you have in your mind to guard it. Now, let me reverse back so that I can explain to you. This stronghold series is mainly about how we can build positive ones, because believe me, there are negative strongholds of trauma, of past experiences, what we've gone through, heartbreak, that can actually affect us. But when we have positive strongholds, we'll be able to counter those negative ones. Strongholds are patterns of thinking, beliefs that are very deep and resistant to change. They are often from past experiences and emotions. Now, pay attention to the word, they are resistant to change. So a stronghold is a pattern of thinking that has been there when you were younger. People kept making comments about your stature. People kept telling you that you were not good enough. And because of that voice and those words that those people spoke to you has become a form of stronghold in your mind, that no matter how much you try to aim high, no matter how much you try to dress nice, you will still feel that insecurity inside of you, because those words are already strongholds in your mind. Then how do you overcome them? By building another stronghold, which is positive ones, to counter it. That is how you do it. So the purpose of having this positive stronghold is for you to have a very strong mental health. People will say things, people will instigate you, people will say things that hurt you, people will say things that will make you feel bad about who you are. Let me give you guys an example. Growing up, I've had people make comments about my stature. Oh my God, you're too slim, you're this and that. And I didn't actually pay attention to it until, let me say, last year. And I think I was going out and somebody just made that comment about my stature. And there was a way I just got angry. And I was like, why would this person just do something like this? Because, some people might actually feel this level of low self-esteem because people call them that. Or beautiful, carved in the hand of the Most High God. Therefore, I am beautiful. You understand? My stature is on purpose. There is a reason why I am slim. Those words, I've been reciting them over the years. They were the words that were able to counter the words that person spoke to me. I didn't even let it affect my mind. After that incident, I carried myself with so much grace, with so much honor, with so much feminine energy, because it was something that could have affected me a lot. That is the power of building positive strongholds in our mind. Now, when it comes to the spiritual aspects, I know many of us might be Christians, Muslims, coming from various religion settings. But I, as a Christian, I know the power of words. That is why there's a place in the Bible that says that decree a thing and it shall be established. Because as Christians, we have authority over the words that we speak. Therefore, you will constantly keep speaking positive words into your life, regardless of what anybody says. That is how you build those positive strongholds in your mind. There's a place in the Bible that also says that when the enemy comes in like a mighty flood, that God will raise up a standard against them. So that is another fortress that God is actually building when the enemy tries to bring you down. So I'm just giving you a spiritual perspective to this stronghold of the mind, because there are many of us that we have it. We're feeling depressed, we're feeling anxious, we are not strong enough to withstand the words of people, our past experiences. So that is why we have to be intentional when it comes to building of this stronghold in our mind, positive ones, to battle it. So as much as you're working on your spiritual life, you're casting out spirit and doing all these things, you have to take practical steps to work on building your mental strength. There are so many of us that we are very on point spiritually, emotionally. We are so mature, But when it comes to our mind, it's so easy to bring us down. Just a little word can just affect our daily life and disorientate us. So let's get right into the segment 3, which is strategies for building a positive mental strength. That I would say is mindfulness, which consists of being present and aware of your thoughts and emotions. Immediately you feel that negative thought in your mind, you are aware of it, pay attention to it and counter it immediately. You have to be mindful. Don't just let thoughts just roam around free, especially negative ones. Don't let them just roam around free in your mind like that. Once those thoughts come, don't counter it with positive. Rest in your mind and let it grow like a weed. Another thing I would say is that positive self-talk. Okay, saying encouraging words to yourself, it reinforces you and builds your confidence. Like I always say, you are your greatest fan. When people kept telling me that I was slim, I was that, I kept using positive strongholds to overcome them. Like I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay, for people that have had trauma, childhood experiences, rape victims, so many things causes us to have low self-esteem and affect our mind. You have to be the one to stand up and rise and say, I cannot afford to let my past dictate my future. Might have been in an abusive relationship where your partner tell you that you're not good enough, move forward without them, you cannot move in life without them. So you have to be the one to tell yourself that with or without this person, I will move forward in life. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. It doesn't matter what anybody says. I have so much potential that the world is yet to see. So those are the words that you will use to encourage yourself. So don't ever see yourself in a negative light, regardless of your past, regardless of what you've been through. There is nobody in this life that is righteous. We are all just working towards perfection. You understand? So another thing that I would say is that self-care. Make sure you're sleeping right. Make sure you are not always anxious. Make sure you are at peace. Quiet your soul. It is very important when it comes to building your mind, so that when there's external forces trying to come against you, or bringing their own trauma and vibe, you'll be able to have enough power to counter it. So make sure you take care of yourself, eat well, exercise well. Many of all these things that we see, when people go for interviews, they are like, I'm able to manage stress, I can work under pressure. And then you get to the workplace and you see these people getting angry, getting snappy, and you're telling yourself that, when we both apply for this job, we said we can work under pressure. So what exactly is going on? So when I'm trying to make from this story is that when you work on building your mental strength, that you are very, very strong when it comes to your mind, it will affect you in a way that when you're at work, even when you are stressed out, you can still work effectively without getting snappy at anybody. Regulation. This means managing your emotions. You understand? When you feel them. Take for example, at my place of work, I've had some people try to provoke me and do so many things just to get me angry. It took me a lot of self-discipline and the restraint for me not to reply. You understand? For me not to get angry and speak what I'm not supposed to say, or lash out at them. So when it comes to this, you have to be intentional when it comes to regulating your emotions. Take a deep breath, calm down before you respond to such situations of provocations, because people will always find a way to provoke you. So you have to be the one to tell yourself that, okay, this person has provoked me. How do I handle this with maturity? But if your emotions are all over the place, you might just misbehave and say what you're not supposed to say, which will not be taken back. So another thing that I would say is that make sure that you set goals for your mind. Be intentional in this month about working on your mind. Don't just tell yourself that this thing is not important. Okay, Eleanor is just saying it because she wants to have subscribers. You understand? I've realized how much my mind has helped me. I remember sometimes I think 2 months ago, and I was trying to work on a particular project, and my mind was all over the place. I was not settled. I was always anxious. I couldn't even assimilate. There is a way, once your mind is disturbed, probably there's a thought, or there's someone that said something to you, or your past, there is a way those thoughts will get so overwhelming that you won't be able to think straight. So that is why it is very important for you to have a very strong, positive mental stronghold. You have to guard your mind. You have to make your mind strong, that no matter what comes your way, no matter how the unexpected happens, you'll be able to stand tall. Another thing that I would say is that resilience training. The ability to bounce back from challenges. Last month I went through so much trauma that it really affected me but it took me a lot of courage, because over the years I've built my mind. That was how I was able to bounce back from that pain of what I went through. So when you are somebody that you get easily discouraged, you're always down anytime you have challenges, you have to realize that as much as, okay, spiritual forces are at work as well, you have to work on your mind. You understand? As much as it's okay to feel sad, it's okay to feel angry, you have to be the one to tell yourself that I cannot continue to wallow in these feelings. You have to be resilient. As much as people try to bring you down, you tell yourself that the more you try to bring me down, the more I'm going to rise. So build that strength, build that inner man, build your mind, train yourself mentally to the point that nobody can affect you, nobody can put pressure on you. Your environment is not able to affect your mind, because once your mind is stable, once your mind is guarded with positive self-talk, you will be able to move forward. Nothing can stop you. Even if you face challenges, you'll be encouraged and tell yourself that, okay, what I'm facing is an opportunity for me to learn. This challenge that I'm facing is not something that will last forever. Another that I will say is that keep learning. Watch videos, read materials, learn from Connect with Eleanor. Those are the things that can also help you. There's a book that Joyce Meyer has written so many books about the mind. So many authors have written books about the mind. Read those materials in your leisure time. Learn more about the mind and how it affects every area of your life. So those are the things that will actually help you. Strength is a journey. It's not something that you get to in a day. I remember years ago when people made comments about my stature, or made fun of me or said something that upset me, I easily get sad and withdrawn and angry, frustrated, telling myself that, okay, am I that ugly? Am I, But over the years, I've built my mind. You understand? There were positive strongholds in my mind. And once somebody tells me that, okay, you are too slim, I'll tell them I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm not made for you. I'm made for the man that God has ordained to be my husband. So I don't care about your opinion. I know that God made me fearfully and wonderfully, and I'm here for a purpose. So when people tell you that because of your past, because of what you have gone through, you cannot make it, you tell them, for the fact that I am alive, I am breathing, God has a plan for my life, there is a purpose for my life. So keep pushing in your career, regardless of what you go through in your workplace. You're going to have pressure from your subordinate, from your boss. People are going to envy you, they're going to say so many things, but you have to be the one to overcome, and build your mind. Life where I got so depressed about so many issues that were going on, because I tried so hard to change my circumstances, but it felt like there was no change. Helpers were not coming. I had to be the one to be intentional and tell myself that I cannot continue to be depressed. I cannot continue to behave like this. I have to move forward. So anytime you see yourself, you're feeling down, apart from the fact that you pray, you work on the spiritual aspect, be intentional about it. Once you see those thoughts coming, those negative thoughts of depression, of your past, comparison, telling yourself that, okay, my mates are moving forward, I'm here. Why not have a different perspective? Believe me, it will work. Have a different perspective, that the fact that you're not where you want to be doesn't mean you are in the past, or doesn't mean you are stagnant. It means God is working it out. Make sure that you live your life at your own pace. Follow your journey. The fact that you're not there does not mean you will not get there. So please, don't be too hard on yourself. So now I just want to give us the practical steps that we can actually take to build these positive strongholds. Like I said, the first thing I would say is that start small, practice daily, learn, and refrain from being eager. Start small. It doesn't have to be something big. You can start with reading a book from Joyce Meyer. Be looking at yourself in the mirror and say, I am beautiful, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, every single day. That is you starting small. Then practice daily. Say it to yourself every day. You will realize that when people or external forces come to counter those words, your mind will be so built up that you will be able to overcome, and it will affect your behavior. Then another thing is learn, keep learning from people, keep learning from books, materials. Another thing I would say is that refrain from being too eager. What I mean is, don't just jam pack yourself with so much knowledge and you are not applying it. You understand? Take it one step at a time. The foundation of it all is the word of God. read the Bible, read what God says about you. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Those are the words that will help you to build a good mental stronghold, a positive one, so that when circumstances come and issues come and people try to belittle you, you will tell yourself that I am a queen, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. There is nobody else on this earth that is like me. You understand? I am unique. I have a purpose. I have a future. You understand? People will see my brightness. People will see my glory. Those are the words that will help you build a positive mental stronghold. So I hope I did not rush too much in this episode. I hope you're able to get the foundation and the depth stronghold of the mind series, which is building a positive mental stronghold. So thank you so much for joining me in episode 1. Subscribe for more. You like me on TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp channel for daily quotes, for updates, and always chat me on TikTok privately in case you need someone to talk to. So I love you guys so much, and I celebrate you for watching Connect with Eleanor, for encouraging me. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to pass a knowledge across to you guys. So I love you guys so much. I celebrate you. I will see you in the second episode of the Stronghold of the Mind series. I hope you will keep building yourself. I hope you keep working on your mind. I hope you will not give up. I love you guys so much. I celebrate you. See you guys next time. Bye.